Hey there, let's jump right into this explainer and gently unpack why you might be feeling entirely spiritually drained or maybe just stuck in this incredibly prolonged season of waiting. You know the feeling, right? You're putting in all the work, whispering the prayers, holding on to hope, and it just feels like you're getting absolutely nothing back. Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're digging into a really profound source text that completely reframes how we look at waiting, receiving, and our overall spiritual posture. It's a pretty heavy question. Why does it feel like your hopes, your prayers, your absolute deepest requests are just smacking into a ceiling and bouncing right back down onto the floor? Look, the pain of feeling like your efforts go totally unnoticed is real. The exhaustion of having to be the strong one all the time is real. But the source material gives us a truth today that honestly has the power to completely reorder this entire season for you. The core paradox we're looking at here is pretty wild. You probably think heaven is closed off, and you are just endlessly waiting on the source to act. But the text suggests the source has actually been waiting on you to lift your eyes. You see, you've likely been standing under a totally open heaven, but you're calling it a ceiling. The blessings, the provision you've been desperate for, they aren't locked away in some vault. They are literally already falling. The only thing missing right now is the angle of your face. Section 1, the power of posture. How the angle of your face changes absolutely everything. To really wrap our heads around the mechanics of this, imagine you're caught outside in a massive rainstorm. Your physical and spiritual posture dictates exactly what you're capable of receiving. If you're constantly looking down, staring at the bills, fixating on past failures, stressing over timelines that just didn't work out, that rain of provision is just hitting the back of your neck. It feels freezing cold. It just feels like one more heavy, wet burden to carry. But if you literally just turn your face upward, that exact same rain becomes pure refreshment. It's the very thing you've been begging for. You just needed to catch it from a different angle. I want you to take a slow breath here, because this idea fundamentally changes the entire narrative around delay. This means that the long wait, it wasn't a punishment for your past mistakes, it wasn't the universe holding out on you, it's simply the logistical reality that provision literally cannot land where you haven't given it space to land. The source was just waiting for you to turn your gaze upward, so all that good stuff wouldn't just be wasted hitting the back of your neck. Moving into Section 2, redefining the waiting. Unseen preparation above you. We almost always interpret silence as a flat-out no, or just total agonizing absence. But the text redefines it completely. What has felt like this empty, mocking silence was actually your requests gathering mass. Think of it like a massive preparation for a landing that's going to completely reorganize your reality. A super quick answer probably would have been a lightweight answer. But this prolonged silence, that is actually the sound of real, substantial weight being added to what's coming your way. And then there are the closed doors. We've all stood there, heartbroken, staring at a door that just slammed shut. But our source explicitly frames those closed doors as protection. You've got to stop pacing in circles in front of doors that were literally sealed for your own safety. Those doors would have led you into rooms that cost way more than you could ever afford to pay. By staring at the closed door, you're keeping your back turned to the brilliant new light coming from a door that's opening right behind you. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it frees you from seeing recurring struggles as total failures. We always expect human progress to be this perfect, straight line moving up and to the right, but provision and growth actually move in spirals. So when you hit the exact same problem for the third or fourth time, you have not failed. You're just hitting the same point on the spiral, but, and this is crucial, you are arriving there as a much wiser, much stronger, and far more anchored version of yourself. You are finally equipped to actually handle the lesson. Section 3, unlearning conditional love, dropping the armor of disappointment. To really step out into this open sky, we have some deeply ingrained habits to unlearn. Be honest with yourself for a second. When something amazing finally happens in your life, is this the very first question you ask? What's the catch? Because of a wounded past, you instinctively brace for impact. You wait for the other shoe to drop. You start calculating exactly how this good thing is going to be ripped away from you, simply because, in the past, gifts always came with some pretty painful strings attached. Well, you can go ahead and let your shoulders drop right now. The gifts arriving in the season are completely unconditional pourings. The source isn't tallying up your past mistakes and reducing the rain to match. There's no fine print here. There's no late fee. Provision is simply provision. Healing is just healing. You don't have to exist in a state of panic trying to prove you deserve it. And for those of you feeling totally overwhelmed by the wait, here is a fascinating reframe. What you have been labeling as panic or anxiety, it's actually a deep,
built-in spiritual sensitivity. You feel things profoundly because you were literally built that way. The world constantly tells you to harden up, build walls, put armor on. But you're actually being invited to do the opposite. Soften up, stay tender. Let that sensitivity tune into the quiet whisper of provision.
Section 4. The channels of provision. Let's look at where the rain is actually falling. So, what does this look like in real life? The rain is falling across all sorts of channels, turning from abstract poetry into tangible stuff. It might look like small, bizarre financial alignments that just miraculously relieve your low-grade anxiety. It could be super physical, like finally getting a deep night of sleep, or releasing that knot in your shoulders you've had since 2019. It's softened relationships, conversations that go surprisingly well. Crucially, it's a much kinder inner voice. And honestly, the most beautiful provision of all is meaning. Your past failures are suddenly blooming into the exact soil you need for your future. The provision is arriving through totally ordinary channels and incredibly unexpected ones. Don't overanalyze it, just receive it. Section 5. The practice of receiving. Keeping your face lifted between the drops. Okay, so practically, how do we stop the drift back into staring at the floor and feeling deprived? It all comes down to the practice of gratitude. The source gives us this brilliant, highly actionable takeaway, the 10-second practice. Look, this isn't magic, and it's not some weird transactional formula to trick the universe into giving you more stuff. It is just the basic mechanics of human attention. You literally just pause for 10 seconds a day and name 3 things that have already landed in your life. You have to acknowledge the drops you've already caught. Otherwise, your eyes go completely blind to the downpour that is actively happening all around you. Where you put your attention shapes your entire perception. I want you to take this specific phrase and use it as a mental dwelling place. The sky over my life is open. Make this your silent anchor. Whenever that old, exhausting habit of looking down tries to creep back in, whenever you feel the urge to just catalog everything you lack and measure your problems, gently lift your inner gaze and just repeat this phrase. Let it be the gentle hand under your chin that lifts your face back up to the rain. Now, if you're listening to this and still feeling incredibly dry and far away from all this abundance, hear this. The not yet is just a season. It is absolutely not a verdict of not ever. The timeline is actually protecting you, making sure that the speed of what you receive doesn't completely overwhelm and break you. Your steady, stumbling, maybe super discouraged perseverance, it hasn't gone unnoticed. In fact, it has been the exact thing positioning your face to finally catch the rain. As we wrap up this explainer and you head into whatever the next stretch of life looks like for you, I'll be real with you. You are still going to face some incredibly hard hours. But I want to leave you with this one vital question. When those hard hours hit, will you face them staring at a closed ceiling? Or will you face them standing boldly under an open sky? Stop bracing for impact. Drop your shoulders, lift your face up, and let the rain hit you. It has always been falling for you. Thanks so much for diving into this with me today, and I truly hope this shift brings you exactly the refreshment you've been waiting for.